Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Marketing Madmen. Nick Constantino here, live from the Battery. We are getting ready for spring. We are getting ready for Braves baseball. It's an exciting time. And you know what? Atlanta is booming. And today I have Julie Stewart, the owner of Utopia Foot and Shoulder Massage Spa. But there's so much more to it. And she's got a hell of a story. And we're going to talk through it. So Julie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. So before we get to just the boom of Atlanta, and we were talking about Grant Park earlier and just what that part of town has become, give some context. So I'm going to set you up as a small business owner with a marketing background who has overcome a crap load of adversity to put herself and her business in a position to succeed. Is that relatively accurate?
That is accurate.
That is
100%.
Wonderful. Good. So set that scene up. So walk us through the past couple of years, what you've overcome, how marketing plays in there, and then I'll set us up for a great conversation on the city of Atlanta and then how we can help some small businesses out.
Okay. I'll actually start with how Utopia was born.
Okay.
So how I've worked in marketing since 1999, but there was a part of me that had the entrepreneurial spirit, and I thought there's something I have to do. So I gave myself a 5-year deadline, and that was to either create something or invent something or open a business. And I went through many ideas. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and it was literally close to 5 years, and it finally hit me. And I was going to a location that's very similar to mine. And I found it to be my outlet. I could stop in for an hour, get a massage, turn my phone off, step away from work, step away from the kids, and it was affordable. And it was just the best experience that kept me going. And I did it every couple of weeks. So I got the nerve to do it because pretty conservative financially. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't making any mistakes. Sure. So I finally decided to do this. I found a location, and we started the build out. The build out takes forever, and
especially in Atlanta. I mean, anytime someone tells me, I know I had a couple buddies who were trying to open pickleball locations, and they were like June of last year. I'm like, I bet February. Still not open yet, by the way.
Right.
So,
the permitting is really hard.
Isn't it odd that we're in a red state that's supposed to be so easy and open for business, but somehow in this one vertical, it is impossible to get anything done?
Impossible.
And which just means that you didn't pay off the right people enough money to justify making it faster.
You're exactly right.
Okay, keep on going.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We're on the same page. Yeah. So I spent 8 months, finally get the location where it's ready to open. I get my business license March 20th, 2020. So what happens?
Yep, we remember that fondly. COVID happened, came like a freaking bullet, just knocked everything over.
Right. So I have this business I've worked on, I've invested in, and spent 8 months building it out, and I can't open my business. And, that's just a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And especially a business where you're touching people, right? So
now, to be fair, Governor Kemp did allow reopening of bowling alleys first. So, that one made a complete amount of sense.
He did.
So it just makes natural sense. Maybe you could do foot massages only first and just feet touching. I mean, there were ways, but yes, that is not an easy way to get a business license to be followed by that whole world shutting down.
Exactly. So I had to wait until May 19th when Governor Kemp allowed spas and gyms to reopen. So now I'm sitting here with all these employees who have been waiting to work, and I have to open a brand new business in the middle of COVID when people
a relatively liberal, risk-adverse part of town. Because if you were doing that up here, I came to work every day, people were pretending this thing didn't even exist. There were parts of town that were so different. That's probably some people don't understand about Atlanta. The journey from Grant Park to Alpharetta is like you went 6,000 miles. You went from a place where they were wearing masks and it's a very liberal leaning and big government to Alpharetta where this thing is fake, don't worry about it. So you were not only doing that, but you were doing that in probably the most conservative, like the northeast part of town.
Right.
Which makes it that much harder.
Exactly. So we opened, and this is where the marketing comes in, and you've got to figure out how do I make people feel comfortable? How do I get them to try me? Because even though we've been in the community for a while, we know a lot of people, it's still, that didn't matter. So we put in, new HVAC systems with purifiers.
Sure.
Promoted that. We wore masks. We promoted how much we cleaned the spa. We would do deep cleans every single day.
Sure. And those are all expenses also. So let's throw that on top of it. Those are not inexpensive things to do, especially at that time when everyone was trying to do them. The supply demand curve was all wacky. So that makes it even harder.
Exactly. So we're learning how to run a business in the middle of COVID. Also, I was like, I'm not going to let this knock me down. I will figure out a way to make it happen. Some things we did, which are kind of funny, is at nighttime, I would take my family. We would go for a walk because people were still in their houses.
Sure.
We would go for a walk. I had no problem putting mailers in mailboxes, even though I didn't have a stamp on them. But you know what? I did it. I'm like, I have to do what I have to do right now, and this is the least of anybody's
Sure.
worries.
The only thing that's working there is your manpower and your sanity from having to go house to house.
Yes, I went into survival mode. I continued to promote the message on the website, through social media, through email, and we took it from there. So by the end of the year, we were seeing, it was a struggle, but we made it through the year, and I felt like, you know what, we're going to make it. And then another year rolls around, we're able to cut back on not wearing masks, not having to deep clean every day, and then the business just started to grow from there and pick up.
Okay. Yeah, and a couple of things here. I think first off, it is a missing part of society, right? Like you're either going to a hotel and spending $600 to get into a spa, or you're going to a corner spa, which is seedy as can be, and like it's just, you know, you get put down on a chair and it's a dude that smells like kimchi that's giving you a massage. It's just the wrong situation. So ironically, me and my wife did a little staycation. We were downtown, Midtown, and I was looking for exactly that. And it's impossible to find. It's impossible to find a community place where you just go in, probably I like a sauna, just a quick fix and a couple of things. And it's not easy to find. So I think one, you found a part of a market that had an opportunity and an opening. I think it lends itself well to the neighborhood in which you were in, because it's a very community oriented neighborhood. And I think that you opened something that was of need. Now, COVID was a curveball. So were you thinking to yourself while that was going on, hey, if I get through this, I can get through anything? Or were you just, oh my goodness, we need to survive to tomorrow and then the next day and the next day?
No, I knew I was going to get through it. I mean, there wasn't an option. And my motto is you just keep standing and keep pushing through. And everybody tells you you're the strongest person I know. Well, you know what? Maybe so, but that's what it takes. If you roll over and play dead, then your business and your investment's going to roll over and play dead.
Yep.
Wasn't going to happen.
And your family and the community and it's far of shooting. Okay, so you've set us up for half of the story.
Right.
So let's keep going, and let's talk about the next couple of kicks that you got, and that will set us up really to give some good advice to businesses and how to overcome issues, because some of the issues that I think I have every day, you've already made seem small, and I think you're about to make us seem small. So give us the rest of the story.
Right. So there's more to the story. So fast forward to 2022, the business is growing. It's starting to thrive, and it's growing along the side of COVID and how businesses were getting, back in the scene, and people are starting to visit. Everything's good. We're kind of past that. And then in August, I wake up to like 8 o'clock in the morning to all of these text messages from the alarm company that something was wrong at the spa. And I immediately look on the cameras and I think, I bet somebody has broken in. And the cameras are dark. I can't see anything. I start calling back and I hear there's a fire. And so I jump up, and I guess now I can say at the time I was going through chemo for breast cancer and was in the middle of that journey. And so at the time, my family actually had COVID, and I was staying in a friend's guest house, so I was not home.
Gracious.
I called my husband.
Chemo, you're already weakened. You can't be around COVID, another thing. That's just, oh my God.
Exactly. So I called my husband. Of course, he's still in bed. It's Sunday morning. And I don't know that I've ever driven so fast to get there, but I got there, still in my pajamas. And I pull up, and there's literally 23 fire trucks. And that's not an exaggerated number, because my spa is in a shopping center. So there's the risk of the shopping center blowing catching on fire. So they have to
probably
call.
Some gas lines. Who knows what's there? Yeah.
Exactly. So they have to call everyone in. And they wouldn't let me through because the roads were blocked. So I had to circle around, and I pull up, and the whole place had been destroyed. And of course, my first question is what happened and why. And the conclusion I got was spontaneous combustion.
That seems completely reasonable. That happens all the time.
I mean, right?
Spontaneously blow up all the time. It sounds completely reasonable. So with a straight face, they told you that it just spontaneously decided to combust.
And without a straight face, I looked at them and like they had 4 heads.
Did this pass any of the other buildings? Was it just yours?
Just mine.
Wow.
I mean, the smoke damaged the the stores next to me a little bit, but overall it was just mine, and it was completely destroyed.
Wow.
Yes.
All
So
right.
how spontaneous combustion is when you have towels that have oils in them, even though you wash the towels, when they're stacked, they don't even have to be hot, they can combust. I don't buy the story, to be honest, but
you need something to cause the combustion. They can't just decide to blow up at room temperature. That's impossible.
Exactly.
So everybody on Earth has towels with oils on them.
Right.
In everything. There's flammable towels in every house in America. So they're saying that you should have been riding a shark while getting struck by lightning by the odds of what had just happened.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so to frame this, open during COVID, we're already dealing with a really hard thing in breast cancer and chemo, and then the building in which you're inhabiting spontaneously combusted based on residual oils on towels.
Exactly.
Do we have that pretty well? All right, so now you have the story of how we're going to set up to how to overcome adversity and how I look at myself in the mirror and realize my life ain't that freaking hard. When we get back from the break, I think let's keep this going, but let's also give some advice and pointers of how we overcome these things, how to start a business, because I bet you there are countless people out there that are thinking about starting a business and don't have the same ambitions that you do and are not able to overcome these things. So I think when we get back, we'll continue this conversation. So we are with Julie Stewart, the owner of Utopia Foot and Shoulder Massage Spa, and you're listening to the Marketing Madmen. We'll be right back.